Dan, it's important to note that Wisconsin election officials have not released those final results. And like you mentioned, here in Wisconsin, those presidential races usually are pretty close. And 3 of the 5 past presidential races, including Trump's victory here in 2016, were all decided by less than 1 point. So what we're seeing here tonight, again, it's not all that surprising. Yeah, Tony, so while the scene has been cleared, we still don't know many details, but what we do know is the Duluth Police Department arrived to the area just before noon, and when they did arrive, they found a victim who appeared to have 2 gunshot wounds. As that little boy, that 6-year-old boy's body was found shortly after 7 p.m. this evening. I'm going to step off cam for a second. You can't see much because it's really dark, but it's very calm here. It's very quiet. You can really only hear the crickets, but that was not what the scene looked like earlier today, as there was many members of that family here, as well as many first responders trying to find that little boy, like you mentioned, Kristen, shortly around 2 p.m. There's even more people that have gathered here since this afternoon. When I first got here, there's at least 150 people out here out on the side of Paul Bunyan Drive here in Bemidji. Now, all these people out here, like you mentioned, different ages, ethnicities, they all have signs representing Biden and Harris. Well, Applefest may be canceled. Orchards aren't letting their apples go to waste. They're celebrating their harvest. And don't worry, there's plenty of time to get your favorite apple treat. Wednesday weekend approaches. Healthcare officials are asking those who choose to travel to take precautions and only travel if necessary. According to the Minnesota Newspaper Association, 7 newspapers across the state have closed just this year. 16 newspapers have either limited their production days or combined with others. One of those is the Duluth News Tribune, starting next month. Duluth's plastic bag fee will charge customers 5 cents for every plastic bag carried out of a Duluth business. That was supposed to take effect in April, but after one delay, it could be pushed back even farther. 6 northeastern Minnesota mayors are getting national attention after signing a letter supporting President Trump's re-election campaign, a letter that first came to light during Vice President Mike Pence's recent visit to Duluth. Among the mayors is Chisholm's John Ciampa.
I wouldn't consider myself a conservative or a liberal for that matter. I vote for both parties, and I believe President Trump's policies support mining, logging, things that the other side with their environmental agenda seem to hold back on.
Ciampa's public support for President Trump has some Chisholm residents saying they don't feel the mayor's words represent the entire city fairly.
His vote should be private and personal, just like everyone else's. And whether you're Republican or Democrat, he's supposed to represent the city as a whole.
So a number of residents have started a social media campaign asking Mayor Ciampa to retract his support. Karen Marino is one of them.
But I think he made a mistake here, and I would like him to retract and let the Chisholm citizens decide for themselves who they want to vote for.
But Ciampa says people disagreeing was expected.
I took a personal political stand, which I have a right to do, and obviously not everybody's political ideology on this subject match mine.
But one thing he says is for certain, he won't be going back on his word.
I have no intentions of retracting my endorsement of President Trump.
We had been sitting out on the dock together at this dock over here, like probably about an hour.
It just happened so fast. It was crazy.
Scary, crazy, and surreal are how Jocelyn Jones and Rebecca Fons described Thursday night after witnessing a single-engine plane crashed into the White Iron Lake, which killed the lone pilot.
A plane just came from the corner of the lake and dipped through the clouds, and we saw it nosedive towards the ground. Then it scooped up and came nosediving at us.
The 2 girls called 911 in fear of the plane would crash into the White Iron Beach Resort where they were staying on vacation.
I knew something was wrong. We knew he was struggling, or whoever was in the plane was struggling, and just couldn't believe I was watching what I was watching.
Resort owner Kerry Davis was woken up after the crash. He and a guest took one of Davis's boats out to help while first responders arrived.
And we smelled fuel, a little bit of gas or something in the water. It made us turn back around, and that's when we found probably about a 3x4 piece of the plane already floating.
Davis anchored his boat until Morse Lake Fire Department and St. Louis County Rescue Squad arrived.
We were out on the water with the fire department till after 3, trying to help them figure out what they want to do as far as trying to recover whatever they could.
Davis says in the 26 years he and his wife have owned the resort, he's never seen anything like this.
Over the years, a couple of float planes kind of nosedive on land, but minor injuries and things like that. But this something no one ever want to experience again.
David Giroux of Duluth spent Tuesday morning getting ready for another Red Cross volunteer mission.
I'm going out to Portland, Oregon. I'm going to work in the warehouse as a fork truck driver. So what we're doing is we're getting bulk in and then we're breaking it down and sending out small amounts.
Giroux has been with the Red Cross for 10 years. All of his past trips were responding to hurricane and tornado damage.
I was a firefighter for 22 years, structural, in Maple Grove. So I always wanted to go to a large forest fire, and this will be my first time.
Now, I shared a similar story with you on Friday of Diane Dunder, a volunteer who went out to Oregon to help those affected by the wildfires. Now, somebody saw that story and they decided to help. What they did came as a surprise to everyone. 2 Twin Ports residents who wish to remain anonymous will match up to $150,000 in Northlanders' donations to the Red Cross to support the wildfires.
What's so amazing about this is that it's a person with the resources to do that kind of donation, and they're saying this donation means more to me if other people are able to donate what they can donate.
Dan Williams, executive director for the Red Cross's Northland chapter, says it's quite amazing.
I see it every day in the work that our volunteers do, the care that they put into the work, the passion they have for helping people that are hurting. It really is humbling to see.
Giroux says whether you choose to volunteer time or donate money, knowing you're helping those in need is a pretty great feeling.
I don't know how to describe it. It's just the feeling of accomplishment, how you are. These people lost everything basically, and they're just really suffering, and you can give them this little spark of hope.
Yeah, they're crazy sweethearts, yeah. They've been around for many, many, many years.
Please don't take my sunshine away.
Taking care of their sunshine, Jill Coleman and Amy Pockernich have been visiting their mom, Donna Gustafson, while she's in the fight of her life. Donna was recently hospitalized with COVID-19.
And she actually isn't doing so well, so she opted for hospice. She does not want to do a vent or a breathing tube. She does have COPD, so...
That's a nice ranger.
Yep, it's a nice ranger.
Supporting Mom's wishes, Jill and Amy brought her home from the hospital back to Diamond Willow Assisted Living Facility in Proctor.
How many years?
She lived here February 14th is her day, and I think the other day she told me it was 8 years.
Well, she really does want to stay. She loves the staff here and the residents.
Her daughters, Jill and Amy, aren't able to visit like they used to due to safety precautions, but they came up with an idea.
Well, day one we sat in lawn chairs with electric blankets over us, and it was okay. That was on Tuesday. And then Wednesday there was a bit more of a wind, and we both decided that we're going to need a little more shelter if we're going to be out here long term. So then was born the idea of an ice house.
With some iPads, Jill and Amy are working remotely from the tent and spending as much time with Mom as possible. While times are hard, they're making the best of the situation.
Obviously it's not ideal, we're sitting outside, but got to make the best of a bad situation, and if she's in the hospital we wouldn't have, quote unquote, this luxury of being in an ice house.
Growing up, my mom was always there for us, so this is our time to be here for her.
They'll be hanging out in the little blue tent for as long as they can.
Please don't take my sunshine away.
Love you, Mama.
Love you, Mommy.
Registration is down at the Minnesota State Capitol as a COVID-19 outbreak has hit the GOP members of the state Senate. GOP members were notified of cases prior to Thursday's special session. However, DFL members are saying they were not. Now, more videos showing what led to and immediately followed the death of George Floyd while in police custody are set to be released. Authorities are searching for an inmate who they say ran away from the Northeast Regional Correction Center in Saginaw Friday afternoon. And a female is in custody this evening after a hit-and-run incident in Duluth today around noon. The officer who shot Cole has killed 3 people over 5 years, and family members are demanding he be fired and charged. Their attorney gave CNN a copy of a report from an independent investigator hired by the city who concluded that the officer is not fit for duty. His attorney did not respond to a request for comment.